I really wonder what time it is in South Africa. It's so nice that he's always there and always there on time, even Corey. I know it's really, really early over there. But it's so nice to see each one of you. I was waiting for the live streaming to start as well. I saw one person, slowly put their screens on, their cameras on. So thank you for doing that. It's good because you know that you know who you're connecting to, you know who you're talking to, and it makes it so much better. The sessions, I always tell you guys, if you can attend it live, please do, because the energy of the session completely shifts based on what the crowd is. Anytime we go and we say, okay, we're going to just simply channel, it's mostly catering to the energy of the people that are present and as to whatever might really be for their benefit and for them and their highest best. So today what we want to actually work on is, if anyone has anything to add, I'm going to be doing a B round for everyone on speaking about the fears that we addressed yesterday, where in a relationship we cannot communicate what we truly want, or we find our thoughts, words, and actions not aligning. There's a fear of how the other person might perceive it. We spoke about fitting in as well. And somewhere where in that need and that struggle to fit in, so much of what we do and how we are also comes from society, and I want to be accepted within society, within societal standards. So they don't need to be the same societal standards for everyone. Like I said, you have so many standards. I mean, just imagine the filters we go through. There is your family rules, your upbringing, what your family perceives, thinks, and would be appropriate within your family in terms of what you're saying or what you're doing. There's unspoken code in every house, right? That are the rules of that house. It's an unspoken code for any household, which is where we get the whole my house, my rules from. You step into my territory, those are the rules that automatically seem to apply. So now when you're living in a house, whether that is your own, whether that is your parents, whether that is your spouses, whoever's that may be, what are the rules over there? If you're living in someone else's house for a bit, somewhere they need to fit within those rules and that mold which is there. There's so many molds which make us. We have to know which ones truly define us. Our family mold makes us. The culture, the race, the country that you are born into or that you're raised in defines you to a great extent. Does not mean that you subscribe to every norm that is there within that country, within that race, within that religion that you're born into or that you've been raised in. Both of those apply to us. But you will find yourself time and again, somewhere at a subconscious level, giving into those norms. It could be 5%, it could be 60%. That percentage is always defined by us. But so is any guilt if we are not confining to those norms. So is us assigning any blame there when something does not work out. You've heard, okay, you have to always compromise in a marriage, compromise in a marriage, compromise in a marriage. Now suddenly you have some problem, something is rocky. You've lived the marriage on your own terms. But now when something's rocky, you're like, wait, is that what was missing? That I didn't do that? And you will always go back to what is culturally taught or taught in a family setting to you. Even if you decided to do something completely different, so you've taken a career path, you've got a family business in a certain line, you are very sure that is not something which interests you. You pursued your own career, your own interest that was there. After a few years, you find it failing, which is natural. It happens to a lot of businesses. For a minute, at least, your mind goes, should I have just taken that route? I mean, sure, all my siblings weren't also geniuses at this field, but they seem to be doing okay. We go back to what we know, because at a subconscious level, that is what we've heard so much growing up, that it is what your mind will first go back to. If it is something you've never heard of, your mind will not go there. Your mind will go to the familiar always, even if you completely and absolutely disagree with it. You're born into a religion. That religion has some rules, some rituals you have to follow. Most people now have questions as to why is this? What is this? What is the thought behind us having to fast for this many hours? How is it supposed to actually help us on our journey? So most of us don't simply follow that now, but have a really, really tough time, a really, really bad day. And that part of you that's doing everything almost as an, like a rebel to that religion, suddenly goes like, I still don't subscribe to doing all those crazy things that I've done, but maybe I should have done a little bit. Is that what's missing? So you will go back to the familiar that is there. So you have your own cultural norms, your religious norms that are there. There is also the mold of the time that you're born into. And that's where we come to the society which is around us in terms of the media that you're exposed to, the pop culture that is going on at that time, the series you might have watched, anything really. Pop culture defines us also a lot more than we think. If you will see, and you will see a distinctive difference between somebody raised in the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the millennials. Difference in thought in terms of what is okay or not. Of course, the people that were around in the 80s are they're around now, and their thoughts and their actions would have evolved to the current times. We all adapt to current times. If we speak about what we were talking on last week, that was primarily about how, humans are amazing at adapting. We're tenacious like that. So we were faced with a completely new situation, start of 2020. Today, we've all found a new routine around it. Today, we've all found a way to adapt to that and understand that, okay, this is what it is. It's completely different, right? There's so many of you might have been in a time where technology wasn't so prevalent. There were no phones, or it was a novelty to have a phone. You moved from landlines to cell phones, to sleeker cell phones, to now laptops, iPads, all the works. And those becoming a way of life. It is not like only the millennials are hooked onto their phones. Today, if my grandmom has a phone, she maybe doesn't need it everywhere and is not snapping everything that's there, but it's still a very essential part of what she's doing. So she might be sending WhatsApp messages on 20 groups, which the millennial does not. The millennial sends a photo to 20 Snapchat friends, and the grandmother sends a WhatsApp message forward to 20 friends, but they're both equally dependent on the phone. She's not going to say, yeah, but I come from a time that there were no phones. No, we adapt. So what does that mean? We adapt. So our actions adapt to our current reality. Do our thoughts, are they adapting to the current reality or not? If at a thought level, if at a level where what is right and wrong, what is appropriate and inappropriate, or somewhere from my upbringing, because our upbringing is our biggest principle. The things you've seen, heard, understood, perceived, taken in from the time you were in the womb till your early years of growing, probably 8 or 9 years old. Of course, post that your teenage and all also matters, but those years, 0 to 8, that's the gold mine. That's what has defined so many decisions you've taken, so much of what you're doing. And that is the mold your mind will go back to anytime something isn't working. So automatically, so you speak to somebody from the 80s, speak to a millennial, have a conversation about something very, very normal, very, very basic. You will see a basic difference in their thought. When you talk about a generation gap, it's not because the older generation hasn't adapted to the new. It is because at a core level, their beliefs or their principles are aligned to what they were brought up with. They believe in those principles, which goes to show how much these things affect us. Even the songs, you're listening to them all the time, right? When a semi-hypnotized state, when we are anyway, those thoughts keep going on in our mind as well. We're constantly being affected by it. And if any of the days we're doing a topic related to relation, I'll tell you about how even pop culture, when we speak about soulmates, that is also so, or having a partner for life, that also is so demonized in pop culture sometimes at an, like unintended level. And it's what we take in. So when we have so many molds and when we're unclear at any point as to what our current mold is, as to what the current model that fits is, that's when we start having a slight crisis of identity as well. That's when we have a slight crisis of this alignment happening also. So the current you goes like, okay, there's so many opportunities. We are always reinventing ourselves. The current you is like, oh, it's time. It's okay to take some time off to make my spiritual journey. I've worked all my life. The current you knows that if a relationship is toxic, I need to step out of that toxic zone. The principles within you, the thought level you, that is still at a level where you do not give up on something just because it's hard. So you don't give up on a job, you don't give up on a relationship, however toxic it is, because it is hard, because that's not what you're taught. What you're taught is to fight it through. The other part of you goes like, no, this life is to work to, sort of gather this many assets to achieve X, Y, Z goal. You don't just, go off on a sabbatical for 5 months and say, yeah, cool, I'm chilling. Because you were taught to work hard. Yeah, of course, if you have an illness, that's a different story. So how many times are you creating an illness? Because that is a permissible reason to make your spiritual journey, to take time out for yourself without kicking yourself over it, to retire. Because illness, of course, yeah, after that, I mean, what can you do? You had to retire. You needed that time to recover. I know this may hit a few points for a couple of you, but that is something that we might end up doing, because at a principle level, we've seen our parents work till the staggering end and do it happily. At a principle level, I'm a hard worker. At a principle level, I cannot sit around and say, okay, I'm going to, just take some time for myself and find who I am. A millennial, look at them. They'll be at 25 and tell you, I'm taking 3 months to find out who I am. Say that to their grandparent and they're just like, what? Like, you're just born. What are you doing? Why do you need 3 months to figure out who you are? Just make your mistakes, go the path, make 20 mistakes, fail at 5 careers and do it. Because to them, this is ridiculous. They actually do not understand the concept of I'm taking some time off to find myself, to rest. Tell your grandmother, yeah, I'm just going to rest. Like, I've had a hectic day. I think I'm going to take some rest for some time. Sure, she's not going to say no to you, but she's going to look at you like, I don't know what you're tired doing. What tired you? So you sat in front of a screen and spoke for some time. You did 3 sessions. All right. Like, we used to do this when we were in this really dire state as well, because Taking time off is something that cannot be understood by that mind. Right? And for them, even if I'm at 60, for me to take time off, nobody else is going to tell them anything, because now they're surrounded by millennials who are absolutely on board taking time off. But if, sort of they want to take time off, they're going to beat themselves up over it, because at a principle level, you don't need it. You don't need it unless you're weak, unless you're incapacitated, unless you're ill. Why do you need time off doing what? Like majorly, you will see there's a whole meme around this, Tell your mom how tired you are and be ready to hear a 40-minute lecture on everything they have done, achieved, and how you have no right to be tired. It's like, what are you tired? I've done this, and this today. I did this when I was your age. What are you tired for? I'm like, yeah, great, but you're you. I don't have that capacity. I'm tired. I'm going to sleep. But we go back to what we are used to. So millennials have their own set of problems and consequences they're dealing with. But this example is simply to understand, why are you beating yourself up over that? Are you creating illness because of that? Because illness is permissible to your mind as a way of taking, some time to find yourself, as a way of going and doing a spiritual course without feeling guilty, as a way of retirement. I mean, I have grandparents, all who still work, all in the bracket of 85 to 90 years, who still go for a full day of work. You think it's okay to tell them I'm going to do a half day at work? No, they're 85 and working full day, exercising twice a day. So you're just like, I really pray to God I've inherited those good genes and I can work this way till I choose to. You will see. They still don't wish to work that way till they're, in that manner till they're 90 years old. But that's like, God, till I want to, I hope I have that sort of energy. I have touch wood, I have extremely active grandparents. More energy than all of us combined. All of me, my siblings, all of my parents, their generation. Get up, do yoga, do laughter, exercise, go to the temple, go to office, outfit changes for everything included. Come back directly from office, go to exercise. In fact, go in their safari suit, go there and socialize. So there's like 10 of them walking together. So socialize, eat meals on time, have a better capacity at, sort of accepting the real foods, because they've eaten wholesome foods their whole life. So you were like, yeah, I had a full day. I'm not exercising today. They're like, yeah, okay. Because that's the kind of energy they come from. Like, you really, really pray to God that you have that sort of energy. But what we don't understand is, more than action, at a thought level, that is something that's so important to them. My brother and my granddad had dengue at almost the same time, a few months in the middle. This was years back. My brother got it. He was down and out. He had to be hospitalized at that time. It was a time when, it was one of the more serious things. I got it after him. I refused to be hospitalized. So I was like, if the doctors told me, every time the reports fluctuated, the doctor's like, yeah, this is different. Now you have to get tested every day, right? Your blood test. And I said, listen, why are you testing me every day? What's going to change from today to tomorrow? There's no medicine to treat it. So they only tell you that, you basically lots of liquid and lots of rest is what's going to get you better. So I said, okay, so if you're not going to give me any medicine and I have to basically rest and, drink water, then let me do that. And because he was already in the hospital and I did not want to get there, I was like, if you've told me I need to rest and drink water, I was doing that like principle. I told him, any guest that comes, tell them she's getting better, she's resting. I'm fine, whatever they think is fine. I know for sure I don't want this to get worse. I'm not going to the hospital. So I had a 2-liter bottle going with me wherever I went. Even if I went to the washroom, the water went with me. I must have had God knows how many liquids. And I was resting like 15 hours a day. He was in the hospital flat and out getting better, right? So this is us, the much younger generation. My granddad got dengue, and there was a time where your platelet count did not reflect it right away. Sometimes it took a while to understand. Nobody could even diagnose it till he was at the recovering end of it. Platelet count didn't show it. He was saying, yeah, he's uneasy. His knees were hurting a little bit. The doctor thought it's a bad knee. So they said, I mean, it happens at your age. We'll schedule a surgery for it. We'll do the scans, etc. He was completely active. All right. Going to the temple. I think it was Diwali times, so doing more religious practices, working, doing everything. And then closer to the surgery, when they had to do the scan to really assess and things like that, the doctor noticed a rash on his body, which was one of the leaving symptoms of dengue at that point. So he said, why don't we get the blood panel done again? And that's when he saw the platelet count, and he's like, wait, you don't have any problem. You have dengue since the last few days. And at that point, he was like, of course, you need to rest and you need to do that. He was so uneasy with the idea of resting because he's such an active person. That's the worst thing you could say to him, that you cannot get out of the house for 5 days. You have to rest. He got fine in 2 days and he was out. Got COVID, got fine. I called him 3 days later. Where are you? I'm holidaying. I'm like, what? I was pretty sure I'd heard that wrong. I said, no, I'm in Ambi Valley. I'm like, what? And here all of us are like, we don't know what's going to happen. He was fine through it because he was completely active through it, which is why nobody thought it could be that, because everyone young, everyone we knew was getting joint pain when they were getting dengue. They couldn't move. Their joints were hurting. This was hurting. That was hurting. For him, he was so active. We just figured, okay, it's a bad knee. We're going to fix it. That's what the doctor thought. The doctor who's been seeing him for years, the family doctor. But that's the difference in thought. We think it's only action, but the action comes from a really strongly ingrained thought of discipline, of hard work, of the sheer willingness to want to do that. And neither of these approaches is wrong, you guys. There's wearing out happening here, there's wearing out happening here in completely different manners. The reason I highlighted on this point is because if any of you are beating yourself up over it, feeling guilty, or assigning blame elsewhere for any of these patterns, understand that it's these molds that you may not be changing. I have a car mold that I built when cars first came around. Now, today, cars have evolved so much. Technology has evolved so much. I'm driving the latest car, but I want to develop it with still the oldest mold. It doesn't work. It's a redundant mold. And I can't feel guilty for letting it go. Whatever is important, because that oldest mold probably has some of the best features. So the intelligence would be in taking the best from that old mold and then adapting it to the new. Never discard something where somewhere you've come from. That has a lot of value for you, because that is at a principle level who you are and what you will always go back to. Till you have to fight whether to keep it or whether to discard it, it'll always be an internal struggle. But the minute you understand that it is changeable, it is malleable, nothing is set in stone, that is so important to remember as a principle for always. Nothing is set in stone. We're so worried when we have to manifest, when we have to think of what we want, when we have to think of anything at all. But the minute you understand, okay, if I change my mind, if I change my thought, I can change my action and change the outcome. I don't have just one chance. Because every time you're making a mistake, also you're seeing that chance gets over, and then you take another, and then you take another. All right. So I think it's just like I was telling you guys, the energy of also everyone that's present defines a lot of what we end up discussing. Today, I came in just, okay, these are the two fears we want to work on today. But the energy of the crowd will always move the conversation in a different way if it has to. So let's get to the B round now. Okay. Although I wish to have my thoughts, words, and actions aligned. However, sometimes, knowingly or unknowingly, intentionally or unintentionally, I struggle for that to happen for me. Because while my actions may have evolved to the current situation, to the current time, or to the current crowd that I may be with, the people that I'm surrounded with, at a thought level, when something simply does not agree with me or agree with how I've been brought up, sometimes I find myself internally struggling over the same. I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself and heal and integrate that part of me. Although I wish to communicate what I truly feel in a relationship or what I truly feel in a given situation, I wish to take actions and have thoughts that are more aligned with my energy and with my ever evolving energy and aura, and that are in alignment with my goals wholly and completely. Yet, sometimes, for a fear of how people would react to that, if I actually put those thoughts into words or into actions, the fear of what the consequence might be, the fear of being left alone with nobody understanding that, the fear of being shouted upon, the fear of being misunderstood, and all the heartache and the drama that could bring stops me from aligning my thoughts, words, and actions. It's like I simply don't want to go there because of all the baggage, because of that looming fear in my mind. I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself and heal and integrate that part of me. Although I've always had a mind of my own, thoughts of my own, and a way I choose to operate based on those thoughts. Yet, there is a need to fit in. We're all social beings. Human beings are social animals. And we have a want and desire to fit in to a given group, to a given community, to have a sense of belonging with the people around us. And at a certain conscious or subconscious level, I may be altering my actions or words, having a misalignment between my thoughts, words, actions, and end goal because of this want to fit in and because of feeling underconfident in my way of doing things or in what I choose to express. I know that there is always a middle path. I know that we can learn and have the best of the principles that we have from childhood to adapt those to the new age. I know that at the end of any fear is empowerment. Yet something stops me. And today I'm ready to release the same. I still choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself and heal and integrate that part of me. Both hands on your chest. 7 deep breaths, breathing in through the nose, breathing out through the mouth. Breathing in confidence. Breathing in the perspective, the understanding of the creator of all that is through the seventh plane. Breathing out the fear of being left alone. Breathing out the fear of being stuck. Breathing out the internal struggle or the external struggle that you may be facing. Knowing that it is safe to let go of that struggle, to find that point of peace within you, that point of alignment within you. Realizing that no matter what way you choose, it is only possible to execute with alignment, to execute it in the safest manner possible, in the gentlest manner possible for you. When you are aligned to who you are aligned to your thought and the word and action that comes from it. That alignment is so, so important. So now you allow it. Knowing that you deserve to live a life that is happy, that is flowing, that is joyous, one where you can truly grow without the need to feel guilty or to feel stagnated or to feel like that has to have pit stops. Allowing yourself a happy, joyous life that flows. Breathing in the energy of flow, knowing an understanding of flow as for the creator of all that is, knowing that you choose a life that flows, decisions that flow, an alignment that is flowing, having your energy flowing positively, joyously, growing. Allowing this download into every cell, atom, molecule of your body, every area of your life, at all four levels of your beliefs, for your highest and best, in your highest and best manner, saying yes to receive this. Knowing what it's like to truly move forward. Letting go as you breathe out any sickness, any situations that you may have caused in your life, to reflect the internal friction, because we don't know how to access things sometimes. So we find situations that portray the internal friction outwards now in a situation. Breathe out 3 to 4 times. Take deep breaths out through your mouth. Simply let that energy go. Feeling lighter. Allowing yourself to be aligned with the energy of the creator of all that is. To be aligned with the energy of your higher self, your higher level of consciousness, which knows your divine timing, which knows your life plan, which understands your learnings and your life's journey. Feeling in alignment with that higher version of yourself. Asking the universe, your angels, your archangels, that you're ready to make the shifts needed in your life now. That all you want is to simply move towards your goal, to have a happy life, a healthy life, joyous relationships, growth, personally, professionally, spiritually, and anything else that comes to your mind. Stated in the positive. Let your angels and archangels know, the creator of all that is, know that I'm ready for that now. And I welcome your guidance. I ask for your assistance. That this process be a seamless one for me, a happy one for me. Help align the stars and my way, and I'm ready to take action. Saying thank you to the angels, the archangels, for showering their love upon you. And feeling aligned, feeling grounded, feeling balanced. Having energy surging up from Mother Earth through your feet, all the way up to your crown chakra, aligning and balancing beautifully and energetically. And simply open your eyes. I see. I see a lot more faces today. That's always nice. All right. So I see most of you back now. Have a beautiful day. If you need to do the alignment for the chakras that we did on day 1 of this week, please go ahead and do that again as well if you feel the need to. Bring whatever questions you have, any situations that are still keeping you stuck or causing that misalignment, bring them to us tomorrow when we're doing the Q&A. Do not hesitate. We want to, as a group, shift our consciousness, release it, and share your experiences as well, because it helps everyone. It helps you, it helps everyone. And we're looking at making a shift together, no judgments there. As a group, as a soul family. All right. So thank you all for joining us. See you all tomorrow, bright and early.